I've got
Thank you,
one,
Judge. I'm here.
2, 3.
She has 3 cases.
She certainly does.
Yes, sir.
We call 14-1619. I'm sorry, 14-18619, 14-18620, and 14-18621. State of Texas versus Brittany Croson. You are on probation for aggravated assaults in each case. And motions to revoke probation have been filed in each of these cases. What are we going to do today?
We're ready to move forward on allegations, 2 and 3, she's pleading the truth. And the offer was a cap of 6 for you to decide on the 3 cases. So we do have a plea deal and she's ready to go forward today with you.
That's
Is
true.
that right?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Sir.
And yes, so we're ready, Judge. And she's gonna talk. I'm gonna let her speak a lot for herself.
Hold on, let me. What happened to this assault out of Tyler County?
It's still pending. It's
No.
misdemeanor assault out of Powder County.
It's actually Smith County, sorry, but.
Or Smith.
Yeah,
Smith
Smith
County.
County,
Sorry,
yeah.
Smith County.
Smith County, yes, sir.
That's correct. She's correct.
What?
Smith
It's Smith County.
Smith
It's-
Smith, oh, Smith.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were saying mid county.
Smith County, yes. I actually have court, September 16th. I've actually been going, been handling it for the most part.
Talking the truth and correct.
I had act-
Oh. Hey, let's see.
It's almost out. Look, there's like 2 left.
What's that one? Here, get it. Thanks.
This one's almost out as well.
All right. Let me read this for just a second here. I see. There's a bruise and a bite here. Now, the bruise sometimes is not, can be minimal,
Right.
but a bite's a bite. I mean, you get rabies. You know what I'm saying? You can, something could be infected. You can get rabies from an animal, but only, and you can get rabies from somebody who has rabies. But the biting is just not tolerated. Yeah, but, and punching somebody is not either, but sometimes my wife gets my attention sometimes when I'm not paying attention with a mild shove to get things, but she's never bitten me. Okay, all right, but you're on probation for aggravated assaults.
And that was a car accident.
It doesn't matter, it's aggravated assault, whatever the facts are, it's a deadly weapon. Had been used in some manner, and a deadly weapon is something
Yes.
that is capable of causing death or serious bodily injury. So misusing a deadly weapon, whatever form it is, whether it's a firearm or a weapon, or even a stick, can be misused as a deadly weapon if it's big enough and sharp enough and
It's dirty.
and heavy enough. But it's a tool that is not to be misused, and and here it says,
If that happens.
I think this one. See, I vaguely remember this. This was a long time ago, and it was 10 years ago.
Yes, sir.
I mean, thousands of cases have gone by, thousands in this courtroom, and
Yes.
I vaguely remember this. And yeah, You were operating it, this says, at a high rate of speed, talking on a cell phone, disregarding stop signs, plowed into a pickup truck with a family, 2 adults and a child in it. Uh, No. No, there were 6 people in the vehicle. It smelled, listen, remove the vehicle, it smelled of ETOH. Yeah, the records. You were testing positive for for marijuana and cocaine metabolites. I mean, that's why it got handled so seriously, because
Yes,
it's,
sir.
it's
What's
a, it's, so we placed you on 10 years deferred or unadjudicated conviction. And then is alleged that you, committed this assault bodily injury in January and then failed to remain in Jefferson County, Texas without you, you're supposed to only have permission to leave from the probation office. And then you are in arrears a little bit of money, which is the least of the problems here. Wow. Okay, so we call then 14-18619, 18620. And 18621, the state of Texas versus Brittany Croissant. That's you here with Mr. Adams, your attorney and the state's attorney. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any statement you make during this hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Lower. Can we proceed in summary on this?
Yes, sir.
In each of these motions, they similarly allege, and these are motions to revoke unadjudicated probation filed July 25th of this year. And they similarly allege that on September 15th, 2014, in Jefferson County, Texas, in this court, you were placed on 10 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for aggravated assault, a second-degree felony. And we talked about it. It was misusing a motor vehicle and causing injuries by the misuse of the motor vehicle, which is defined in the manner of its use was a deadly weapon. Is all of that true and correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's she pleading true to?
2 and 3.
Oh.
2 and 3.
2, in each case states that you failed to remain in Jefferson County, Texas, and you were arrested in Tyler County, Texas, on or about January 29th, 2024 without.
Smith, it should be Smith.
It's Smith
We
County.
moved
Yeah,
it in that
I'm
Smith
going,
County.
that doesn't matter.
Yes,
It's Tyler
Texas.
City.
yes.
Yeah.
Woodville is the capital, is the county seat of Tyler
Moved
County.
them in at the Smith County. In both cases.
Any objection?
No objections.
I guess I'm changing 1 and 2.
2 we're not, I mean, 1 we're not proceeding on number 1, but.
Yeah,
I'm fine changing.
well, I'm gonna change anyway, just in the event something happens differently, okay? Corrected. Okay, on each case, I'm correcting Tyler County and replacing with Smith County.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All votes have been corrected to read allegations 1 and 2 occurred in Smith County, Texas. So on the assault bodily injury, are we passing on that?
Yes, sir.
Second, again, states. Cute little song, but it's just kind of not the right time for it. Okay, number 2, in each case states that you failed to remain in Jefferson County, Texas, and you were arrested in Smith County, Texas, on or about January 29th, 2024. And that was without the permission of the Jefferson County Adult Probation Department or the court. And I guess without the permission, the inference is you failed to remain in Jefferson County by going to Smith County, Texas without permission.
Yes, sir.
Is all of that true and
That
correct
is true. Yes, sir.
in each case? Are you pleading true voluntarily and because that allegation is
It's
true?
Yes, sir.
You
It's
understand by a knowing and voluntary plea of true to one or more violations of probation? That is enough to grant one or all, one, two, or three of these motions to revoke probation. Your probations can now be revoked. You can be found guilty and sentenced up to the full range of punishment. And this was a second-degree felony. So you were looking at no less than 2 nor more than 20 years confinement in prison. Knowing that, do you insist on pleading true to that?
Yes, sir, because it's true.
I find you were pleading true voluntarily. You understand and appreciate the seriousness of pleading true
Of course, sir.
in each of these cases. You know, this ad is working funny today. Agreements have been reached that whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 6 years in prison, which means you were looking at no less than 2, no more than 6 years confinement in prison if I revoke your probation and place you in prison. Or you are or the only other option is continue you on deferred or unadjudicated probation.
Which will expire at the end of the week.
Huh?
Which will expire at the end of the week, the probation will.
And I believe probation officer just wants to see that happen. That's all it's gonna ask. Just quickly, can you state your name for the record?
Observation.
And you supervise my client, right?
Yes,
And you understand that the offer is a 6
How
year.
much time she have for?
Right,
she expires on.
right. Now, when we spoke, I understand your recommendation is for her to stay on probation, continue this probation, even though she'll be getting off in, I think, in a week or 2 weeks, something like that.
She gets off on September 14th.
Right. So in your own words, tell the judge why you want her to continue this probation, because you're the main person supervising her, right?
Pre-sentence report.
Because,
Go ahead.
so could you tell the judge in your own words why you want her to be continued and let her finish this all 3 of these probations? Why? Just tell her.
She's been very compliant, does what she's supposed to do. She's only had 1 incident, and that was back in 2019, but
What was that?
she failed her breathalyzer in her car, the ignition.
With alcohol?
Yes, sir.
What you were saying about why you want to continue?
Other than that, she finished CSR. She only has a delinquency balance of $100. She's done all the required classes. She reports every month.
So based upon her conduct, because I think this goes back to 2013, 14, one of
Yes,
them,
sir.
right? And we're now in 2024. So if you go back from 13 to 24, you're saying for the most part, she's ideal probation.
I've only been supervising her since March, but given the past paperwork, she has been very compliant ever since that 2019 incident. And
Say that again.
she's been very compliant ever since the 2019 incident. I've been supervising her since March, but the paperwork that reflects all that time said that she's been compliant.
And and the state raised the question with the judge, well, if she's continued, she finished next week, 14th or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And knowing all that you know, you good with that, right?
Yes,
And with you being good with that, looking at her paperwork, so you're just not forming that opinion just off the top of your head. You looked at all her file, you looked at her paperwork, you looked at everything you know about her, right? And you saying to the judge, hey, let her complete this next week and go on, and she'll be done with this, right? All right, Thank you for your time.
When did you find out she was in Smith County? How did you find out that she was in Smith County?
For the arrest.
Yeah, how did you find out?
That happened before I was employed.
Okay. How did the
I didn't
probation
hear the answer.
happen before she was employed with probation office?
Who was probation officer before?
Mr. Harmon. Mr.
And she's telling me that she had a great relationship with
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Harmon as well, even though he's no, right, then you tell
Yeah,
me?
he was a really good guy.
And they had a outstanding relationship as far as her helping,
Yeah, let's cut to the chase.
Mhm.
Mr. Harmon being a really good guy isn't even close to a relevant matter here. Let's talk about you
Well, I've been,
and why you are here.
yes,
It's not because he's a good, Gator was a great guy, which I thought he was. But that doesn't have anything to do with you being here in the orange jumpsuit
here, yes,
again.
I know, and I apologize for, having to do this. But Your Honor, I have been compliant, and it was,
Except
and-
you're here.
and it made, and it makes me upset because I've done so good and people, places, things, I put my trust into someone that I should not have.
It was somebody else's fault you're here?
No. He was actually a boyfriend of mine. I had
It's
actually-
somebody else's fault, or is it your
No.
bad choices?
Exactly, this is my bad choices, yes,
Uh,
sir. It's my bad choices. But I've been compliant. I just ask, and even if you'd like to extend my probation, I would be just fine with that.
You would be? Number one, I can't do that. You can only be placed on probation for 10 years. I know you have a master plan for me to follow, but it's gonna be my
No.
plan I follow.
Yes,
I don't like people to be here. 85% of the probationers are successful, 85. The national average is 7. That's what kind of probation office we have here. They're overachievers. Oh,
and I've tried to,
So you basically you're asking for, the court to go along with what your probation officer is recommending.
I
And
tried
that
to-
is for you to be able to continue, finish next week, and then you'll be off probation, is that right?
and I will have to go to Smith County and probably be on probation out there. But it's not,
what's that all about?
In Smith County? That's at a
Oh, I
stall.
thought you said mid-county.
No,
Smith
Smith
County,
County.
Smith County. I'm sorry, sir.
So what's pending in mid-county, in Smith
It's
County?
the family, it's a family assault or family violence, one of those stupid.
Misdemeanor.
I gave the paperwork to Mr., was it Mr. James? Is that his name? The supervisor, and he faxed it over. I've actually been on a pretrial probation. Also, I've been going and paying them and drug testing and everything. So I've been just trying to make sure everything is taken. And I made sure to let my probation officer know in every move that I've made.
In the pre-sentence report earlier, you stated succinctly that you were stupid, selfish, and irresponsible, and very lucky that no one was killed. All of that's true.
For
You
the-
told the probation office this when they were preparing the pre-sentence report 10 years ago. I'm reading the old report.
Yeah.
And we
Yes,
went
sir.
over this, which was admitted into evidence without objection.
Yeah, I was young.
If granted,
Go ahead, sir, I'm sorry.
you knew better. How old were you 10 years ago?
23. I was with the wrong.
You were an adult for 5 years. And what were you gonna say? You were with the wrong person?
I was just, no.
A
I
choice
just
you
I
made.
made the wrong.
A choice.
decision, and I'm just blessed, and my
If
kids.
granted a chance at probation, I can get myself together, then work on getting my kids back. So where are you on all of that?
Okay, now I'm gonna bring it. My kids, I relinquished my rights to my kids.
Certain man,
I relinquished my rights to my kids 10 years
so
ago.
that wasn't true then.
Well,
Oh, no, that was a part of.
It was-
It was true that she was trying to get her kids back, but I think what she's not including is that there was a CPS case as a result of this criminal case. And then in the CPS case that was going on, she was trying to get her kids back working the plan. I think they end up doing a relinquishment instead of, I think what she did was a voluntary relinquishment instead of the court actually doing a full termination in a trial. And I think that's what y'all worked out on the CPS
yes,
end.
I went to them for a little while, Your Honor, and I'd done the DWI, I remember.
Right.
And that's what it was. My kids they're great. They're all in the same household, honestly, and this is thanks to you. And it really is. My kids are,
What I don't have, an answer to, or is it the Hernandez family? What's about them, for whatever reason, I don't, it may not be a good reason, but there was a family that was all injured. I mean, a family almost was killed off by your behavior. And you had all kinds of substances in you and as well as speeding, on the phone, running a stop sign, alcohol, cocaine, and marijuana. And back then, it stages attempts to contact the victims have been unsuccessful. Did you know in your records, did it ever show anything about the Hernandez family and what the results were of their serious injuries?
I don't show a victim impact statement either, Judge.
Yeah,
It's ever filed with our
something-
office.
That's abnormal. Something is strange about all of that. But there's two adults and one child, so there. You had two children in your car. While you were operating this in reckless manner. Okay. I see. I thought there were 6 people in the other vehicle. There were 3 in each vehicle. One child in the other, in the Hernandez vehicle, 2 of your children in your vehicle that you were operating while on marijuana and cocaine. Okay. So, what does the state say on this agreement?
Judge, I got a problem with the fact that she left the county, which is acting, we kind of glaze over it like it's no big deal, but it is a big deal.
It's a long way.
And to do so with somebody else and then end up committing an offense while there, and then just saying, I think I'll get probation on it. It doesn't add up to where it's one of those situations where you can just say, well, let's just let it slide and just let her probation expire at the end of the week. She's been on probation for a long time, but she knew the rules. You got to complete it, and she didn't do it. So we'd ask you to revoke her and stay within the 6 years. The amount of punishment's up to you, Judge. I just limited it because of the fact that it was a misdemeanor instead of a felony that she committed.
Okay.
Yes. Did you hear what the state said about you leaving Jefferson County, being in Smith County, and then picking up the violation? Can you just briefly tell why did you leave? Because here's what the judge got, and I kind of want to put this in fairness. You have on one side your probation officer saying, hey, you great person, fantastic, all the good stuff he said. She said, let you finish next week, go on about your way, right? And then the state just brought out a good point. You left Jefferson County, you just don't let that slide, right? So I want you to answer that. Why did you leave Jefferson County? What happened?
I had actually had my probation transferred over in 2021 or 22.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you had signed off on it.
No,
But I
I-
came back. I came back here and I had actually.
No, no, no.
purchased-
Did I transfer this probation
There was an amendment to Wood County, I believe, at
or
one.
did
point.
I
I thought
grant
that was
courtesy
for-
supervision in another?
Courtesy.
It
county?
was, yes, sir, that's what it was.
That's
Yeah.
apples and
Oh,
oranges.
well, I
Courtesy.
wasn't, I didn't. know
Courtesy
exactly.
supervision means I'm giving you a second chance. A second, opportunity to go to another county,
Is this for
but you're still under my authority.
Yes, sir.
A transfer means I give the authority of the county to another county, which I do not, I never do that. That's why I know that's wrong.
But
Your terms are used incorrectly.
I'm sorry, sir.
But- That was courtesy supervision that I do.
Yeah,
If that's will help somebody complete probation successfully, that's what I do.
so.
It was another opportunity. Not only were you given probation, but the courtesy supervision was on your convenience. That was where you wanted to go. And I even cut some slack on that.
And I appreciate that.
So tell us what happened. Why you
And
left?
one of my stipulations was my interlocking my vehicle, and it got repoed, and that is why I left the county. If I know it sounds, but that's just
Sounds
being
like another
honest.
excuse,
I'm
doesn't
not
it?
being honest, sir. That's I mean, it wasn't.
Failure is not an option when it comes to me on probation.
I just ask that you take into consideration everything that I've done. Please, I mean,
I'm kind of thinking about the Hernandez family. Yeah, that still is on my mind.
I haven't, actually spoke to.
You really hadn't really talked much about that.
I actually spoke to the lady, she works at Mercado's, it's been years back, when I got out, like in 2017. But her family, it was her daughter and her son, she worked at the meat market, I was able to,
How did that conversation fix the injuries that these people?
it didn't,
No, it didn't.
it did not at all.
Okay.
And it didn't fix the fact that I was irresponsible completely. I mean, but I don't have my kids and, I do have to live with that. For,
You're not the victim here.
no,
Don't
sir.
sound like you are. You're not the victim.
I know that.
You're the perpetrator. Anything else, Dan? Anything else you want to add, Dan? If nothing further, I'm going to find that you have pleaded true to allegation 1 as amended.
Allegation two, sorry.
Allegation 2. I amended 1 as well from Smith County, from Tyler County to Smith County, but the county is wrong in number 2 as well. So you pleaded true in each of these cases to allegation number 2 in these motions to revoke unadjudicated probation, failing to remain in Jefferson County, Texas by being in Smith County, Texas on or about January 29th, 2024 without permission of the probation office. You pleaded true voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. There was sufficient evidence presented here by your pleas of true to support a finding of true by a preponderance of the evidence or greater. I find that has been proven true, that you have violated allegation number 2, condition 7 of your deferred adjudication order granted to you on September 15th, 2014 in this court. Anything else to add by anybody else? So I'm going to grant these motions to revoke unadjudicated probation. Earlier in each of these cases, you pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understood and appreciated the consequences of pleading guilty. There was sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea in each case to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Anything to add by anybody? All right, I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And in this case, you are looking at no less than 2 nor more than 20 years confinement on each case. Now, these, I think, would run concurrently by law, and I would run them concurrently anyway. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years. You will be given credit for all time you have served in conjunction with these cases, which I'm showing is about a year. You know, I'm showing unofficially 339 days. An affirmative finding that a deadly weapon, namely a
Motor vehicle.
motor, the indictment says motor vehicle was used in connection with the within the commission of this offense, a deadly weapon, namely a motor vehicle was used. That will be rendered in the judgments in this case. And again, you will be given credit for all time you have served. For God bless you. The circumstances of this case are extraordinarily serious. Seldom have I had somebody in the thousands and thousands of cases I've handled who had that many controlled substances or inebriating, intoxicating substances in their system. You're operating a 4,000 pound missile, which can cause great damage in operating it irresponsibly. I think we can all feel like it's fortunate in this case that there weren't several fatalities, including the people in your vehicle. But I wish you would have successfully completed. You were pretty close to this. Why at the end would you take, would you kind of leave the reservation without permission is beyond me. But anything else to add? Okay, that is the judgment of this court in these cases. That is all.
Thank you.
Yes. I have a Jasmine Hopway.
She's ready. She's ready. She's signed up.
I need to.
I think she has an MTRP and
The new case, all right?
right.
Okay, yeah, I need
So
to.
we did them all. I think it was just 2 cases. Jasmine. Oh.
You got yours ready?
We're ready, Judge.
How long is yours? Just a quick one?
It is, Judge.
Come on up.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.